Hello YouTube. In this video I am going to show you pretty much some new capabilities of the newer version of Avast, and yes, I'm doing this install in Windows 7. I'm setting up a Lab Win 7 system for various things. This is pretty much a junk install. If anything happens to it, I break it or whatever, it doesn't really matter. So that's part of the reason why I'm doing this in Windows 7. So just go to avast.com. I'll provide the link in the details. Click download free antivirus. And you're going to notice that the installer is somewhat different from the way it used to be. So the web installer, click on it to run it, click yes when user account control comes up. And you're going to notice the biggest difference in just a few seconds. Number one, yes, this part right here is considerably different. Now you have Avast free antivirus setup. Just click install. And now it tells you Avast free antivirus is being installed. Go ahead and use your PC while you wait. We will let you know when it's finished. And it's not kidding, it will too. With this particular install, we're not going to set up a separate firewall. We're just going to leave it with the regular Windows firewall. There's another tool I will be installing here in just a little bit into it, and I'll be doing a separate video on that one. I could be using the system to do whatever, but yeah, I'm really not too worried about it. And basically this one's going to be the install, use and configuration of Avast Antivirus. It's going to be pretty much identical in Windows 10 or Windows 8. So one of the reasons I don't mind doing it in Windows 7, and I don't want to mess up my Windows 10 lab install that is actually going to be running Komodo antivirus. It'll be running Komodo Internet Security Suite, so that way it has the antivirus, firewall, HIPS, the whole 9 yards. Speaking of HIPS, that is something that has been recently added into Avast free antivirus. So Avast now actually does offer and provide a HIPS system. Alright, and once Avast finishes, it will literally open up on its own. It'll come right on up. And then you get the you are protected. Just click continue, continue. You can get it for your phone if you want to put it on your Android. You don't have to. I always click no. I don't want to protect my Android phone just to make it go away. And now you actually have Avast set up. So the first thing you want to do is come over here to the little gear icon, click on it, and we're going to go to components. And for the file system, if there's something that you don't want the system to actually go after, if there's a file or something that you want to stop it from getting, click on customize. Go to exclusions, click add, browse out to the folder or directory, and then all you got to do is select on it and click OK, click add, and it adds it into it, and it'll no longer go delete it or anything else. It won't mess with it, it won't do anything with it as long as it's under the file part and file system shield. You can do the same thing with mail, web. There's lots of different ways to help set it up to where specific things that you know it's going to go after and it's going to attack, but you don't want it to, then you can set it up to where it won't go after it. So you have Safe Zone Browser. Allows you to run your trusted session shield from the rest of the operating system. By switching to Safe Zone, you will get a clean desktop where you can manage your sensitive transactions, such as online shopping and banking, without the risk of being monitored by spyware or a keylogger. You have Security Browser extension, and then you have the Safe Price Browser extension. So there are a few things that have been added to Avast that have very well made it worth running made it very well worth having and running Avast. And the free version has a lot of add-ins The paid versions, even more so. Some of them go right on into the firewalls and everything else to full system protection. So the free version's great. The paid versions are great. It's something that's been coming along for many years. So here's where you can do manual updates. If you go to update registration is stupid simple. You just click on the button, come over here for your standard, just click select, then put in your email address and go from there. So after you put in your email address and click register, it takes you to this part. Just click no thanks, and poof, voila, you're registered. You can purchase different versions of it through here. You can buy a secure line VPN, which is a decent service. Really well, especially if you use a laptop or something like that, and you know you're going to be connecting to open networks. The secure line VPN will help secure you in many ways in that aspect. So from registration we go to troubleshooting. You have enable rootkit scan. That's enabled by default, so yes, it does check for rootkits. There's a lot of things that it looks for to protect you on. You can skip the checking of digital signatures of infected files. I would not recommend selecting that, but it does speed things up a little bit. It's also not going to catch a lot of things. Load Avast services only after loading other system services. That is another bad one to have selected as well. So make sure that it's like this and you don't have these two selected at all. You have passive mode. In passive mode you can still scan and use other features, but we can't actively protect your PC from malware attacks. That's not a good thing, but then again can be on older systems. You have restore to factory, defaults, and then redirect settings. About Avast gives you information on it. So we're going to come back up here to general. We're going to select animate the icon when scanning, so that way the icon actually spins and everything, and you know that it's scanning just by the look of the icon. Automatically open the scan results when the scan is finished. You have harden mode. Use the Avast harden mode to further lock down the security of this computer. This is recommended for inexperienced users. We are going to leave harden mode off on this because there are some things that it's not going to allow me to be able to do. We do want to select scan for potentially unwanted programs. Now if you do want to lock your system down even tighter on the security, I would highly recommend enabling harden mode. I'm not going to on this because this is a lab system, and again it's a junk setup. So if anything happens to it, I can scrap it and redo it very quickly. Silent gaming mode is not something that you really want to use. It disables a lot of things, kills a lot of the pop-ups and everything else for gaming. If you're a gamer and you're intelligent, you don't want to disable that shit anyway, because you do want your freaking notifications to come up. There's nothing quite worse than having your system die or somebody hack your crap because you never got a notification to know that something was happening and something was compromised. So this is absolutely stupid. I do not understand why they do that with applications, especially security applications, but whatever. Apparently some people can't be bothered with the fact that some security issue came up on their system. If you're one of those people, well, when your computer gets owned and your account gets owned, you got what was coming to you. Sounds, you can disable the sounds right here, enable or disable the different sounds. It does use a voice to tell you when threats have been detected, various things like that, so you can disable that there. Here's pop-ups. You have password, where you can actually go in and protect Avast with a password where it can't be easily changed, or a lot of other things can't be done without the password, which is a really smart thing to do. So I would highly recommend you click protect Avast and then put in a decent password in there. Make sure it's something secure, not stupid simple, because if it's one of your kids' names or your phone number or something like that, dude, anybody and everybody can get that information and your password's worthless. So make sure you use something that is fairly obscure and not something easily guessed for something tied into you. Maintenance, you can go in and change whenever it deletes the logs or deletes temporary scan logs. Here are your global exclusions. So for a global exclusion, this stops the system from being able to do anything with that file at all. So if there's something you don't want Avast to even look at, touch, or anything, you can dump it into this global exclusion on the file path or a URL path, and it will automatically stop it from scanning that file and doing anything with it. If you try to use it, scan it, touch it, whatever. There are some circumstances in which you will want to use that. Now you can come in here to special scans where you can do Explorer scan or screensaver scan. You have your alerts. You can set it up to email you, especially if you're running an SMTP server or even a MAPI server. You can fix it up to where it automatically kicks out an email to you anytime it receives an alert. For any of you that are serious security savvy, you can actually install a setup of Security Onion and fix up a collector where it will gather the logs and forward the logs to the manager. So you do get the logs from Avast for any malware events that have taken place. Once you get done with these settings, let's see, privacy, participate, blah, 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 blah. Once you get done with these settings, you can go ahead and click OK. And now we're going to go to Tools. Secure Line VPN. Skip tutorial. Right here, once you get the Secure Line VPN set up and you actually have your account, you can just click Connect and it will connect you into your VPN. Safe Zone browser. And there's the Safe Zone browser. So as you can see, it's going through a browser specifically in Avast. And yes, it is very much so a browser. It's built off of Google Chrome. It's very, very locked down and designed to help protect you to the largest extent that it possibly can. You can go to Rescue Disk where you can create your own rescue disk to recover your PC. If you have sandboxing, you can set up the sandbox where you can execute suspicious files in the sandbox. It'll monitor what it does. If it doesn't do anything, then it doesn't do anything, and it will come back and give you a report on what the file did, which is actually a really good thing. That means it gives you the ability to do basically potential malware detonation directly on the system, so you can execute a file and test it first and see if it is malware or not before potentially infecting your system. So that is a very nice functionality to have. Now we're going to go back to the settings. Okay, you go back to components under the settings, and how I showed you on the file shield, you click on custom. You can set scan when opening. You can scan files with custom extensions. Enter in the extensions that you want. I generally select scan all files, so it scans absolutely everything. So if this option is selected, all files in the system will be scanned at the moment they're open, which may have a negative impact on your system's performance. Granted, yes, that can slow your system down, but every file that is accessed gets scanned. If you're on a slower system, let's say you have a single core or dual core system, and you only have like 2 to 4 gig of RAM, don't select this. If you have a quad core to a quad core or more, and you have around about 8 gig of RAM, definitely select all files and make sure you click OK so it enables it, and it will scan every single file that's accessed regardless and make sure that it's not malware. That is a good way to help keep your system from being owned. Okay, so you have scan when writing. By default, you have scan files when writing, scan files with default extensions. You can scan files with custom extensions, or you can tell it to scan all files. If this option is selected, all files in the system will be scanned whenever they are created or modified, which may have a negative impact on your system's performance. Always remember with the scan all files, if you have decent hardware, it is worth it to have that turned on. If you do turn it on and you notice that you're having some pretty serious lag or something like that with the system, or it has significantly slowed down, then by all means go back and turn that off. So you have scan when attaching. It'll automatically scan when attaching files and email. You have your exclusions here. You have your advanced, which everything is selected in advanced. You have actions for your pups and everything else. It will automatically do whatever it needs to. Suspicious files, viruses, pup. Okay, so you have fix automatically. If action fails, then do nothing. I would highly recommend that you set it up to where if action fails on trying to fix it automatically, that it moves it to the chest. Then if that action fails, at that particular point you can either say do nothing, no action, or delete. I commonly set it to ask. So if it fails to fix automatically or to move to the chest, then it's going to ask me what I want to do, and from there I can decide delete or do nothing at all. Okay, processing of infected archives. Try to remove only the packed file from the archive. If this fails, do nothing. What I generally select is try to remove only the packed file. If this fails, remove the whole containing archive. That way, if there's an infection in there, it catches it. If it can't remove only the specific file, then it kills the whole damn thing. No questions asked. So now let's come down here to packers. Now, packers are several different things. Some of your packers are designed to hide installers and things like that, so you can take an installer or something and run a packer with it. It's not just an archiver, though. You'll notice a lot of these are archives. Packers can be used for several different things, and I can take a application and then malware, run it in a wrapper or a packer, pack it to where the malware is attached to the installer, so whenever you run the installer, it installs the appropriate application and it installs the malware as well. So then we come down here to sensitivity. You'll see the heuristic sensitivity is set on normal. You can bring it up to high. You have test whole files, which I do highly recommend you select. Scan for potential unwanted programs. And then you have the suspicious behavior hips. The sensitivity is always turned down on it. I always bring it up to the second bar. You turn it up too high and you'll start getting quite a few false positives. Right there seems to work out real well. And then at this point, click OK, and you are now set up and ready to go with the newer version of Avast, and you are pretty well ready for whatever. You can tighten it down even further through the settings that I was showing you, but this right here is going to be fairly secure, and if you have it running on hardened mode, you're going to be okay. This information is out there for absolutely everybody. As always, watch, like, and share. Have yourselves a great day.